Hello, my name is Abraham Klein, and this is now my fourth or fifth attempt at trying to make this video. And each one, because I wanted to make it short, and then every one I've done is seemed to have gotten longer. So if this one takes 3 hours, oh well, it's going up on mine. But Wednesday, the 6th, Wednesday, January 6th, 2021, that was you might say it was an interesting day. Maybe not in Tacoma, Washington, or I don't know, Springfield, Missouri, or something like that. But definitely in Washington, D.C., it ended up being an interesting day. And I should know because I was there. Yes, that's right. Now, how I ended up there is a bit of an interesting situation. Friends and I were talking on New Year's Eve, New Year's Eve, 2020. And the conversation came up that there was going to be this protest down in D.C., and they thought, yeah, we should go down there. And I thought, yes, I've always wanted to see D.C., but have always been scared of trying to get down there by myself. So if I can get a ride, yay! So yeah, we ended up leaving like a little after 5 in the morning on that day, and we ended up getting down there and parked in Maryland and took a train all the way down to D.C. Came out of West Union Station, and boom, that was the Capitol. It was a beautiful sight. First of all, the West Union Station was pretty cool too. The bathrooms are awful, but the rest of it was beautiful. It looked like I felt like I was in a Roman Colosseum or something like that. And in the bathrooms, felt like I was in a Roman prison. But either way, I walk out and there's the Capitol building. It's like, whoa! It's like something I've seen or heard, seen in pictures and stuff like that all my life. And there it is. Now, when I say there it is, meaning it could be anywhere from 1 to 2 miles away, because that's the way it seems to be in DC. If it looks like it's right there, it's probably, I don't know, 500 miles away. Because we'd walk and it looked like we'd get closer, and then it just seemed like it was farther away, and then anyway, so we ended up getting there. We got some pictures in front of the Capitol before everything happened, which is real ominous, right? So then we were there and didn't look like there was really anybody there. There were a few, Trump supporters. You could see their flags and gear and stuff like that. Which I thought, wow, okay, I guess it's not going to turn out to be quite the protest that Trump wanted it to be, and that is true, but not the way we thought at the moment. So we ended up walking down because we wanted to go see the Washington Monument. And from there, I looked and I thought, wow, it looks really small. I thought it'd be a lot bigger, and that's only because everything looks closer than it actually is. Because once we got down there, I was like, whoa, that thing's actually, So we're walking down there, and we start seeing these people walking in our direction, and the longer we walked, the bigger the crowd got, and once we got to the Washington Monument, it was just like, and we took pictures of it, and the pictures don't even do justice of what we saw. There was just so many people everywhere. You saw, you could overhear different conversations, people talking, and, you had some people that were there that were preaching on the street. There were some, with signs for QAnon and all that kind of stuff. And there was some guy, which like two guys with Confederate flags, and we're like, you don't belong here. And so we continued walking. We heard what sounded like the president's voice, and turns out he was like in the adjacent area of the Washington Memorial, and he was giving a speech. So we got down there and tried to get as close as we could. And we saw people standing up in the trees, and people like up on this like a thing that looked like it was like the side of where like a gate's supposed to be, those pillars or whatever. And we thought, wow, that's a crazy thing. We thought that'd be like the craziest thing we'd see all day, and we were wrong. And then like some guy tried to jump the fence and run at the president, and he was subsequently brought down by Secret Service. And we thought that would be the craziest thing we'd see all day, but again, that's not what happened. So anyway, after the speech was over, we were gonna go see the White House. And we heard some people saying like, "Yeah, we're gonna go storm the Capitol." And we're like, "Yeah, have fun with that. Have fun storming the castle." That's a Princess Bride reference, in case you didn't get it. So then from there, we ended up trying to go up to see the White House, and we didn't because, well, some of the police officers around the area were like, "Yeah, you're probably not gonna get a good sight of it. So you'd best just to skip it." So we took their advice, and meanwhile, there's people coming down this other road, and they're walking towards the Capitol as well. They got drums, boom, 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 and all that kind of stuff. And so we're going back, and while we were on the way, we saw like the Department of Treasury. We saw this big Black Lives Matter sign up on a building and things like that. And so Then we're heading back, and then we decided to go from, instead of going straight to the, because we weren't sure if we wanted to go right back to the West Union Station or go see the Lincoln Memorial. So we decided to go to the Lincoln Memorial. We got over there eventually. On the way, there was the World War II Memorial. Eventually, we got to the Lincoln Memorial, and it was pretty cool, I gotta say. Not gonna lie, it was pretty amazing. And again, it took forever to get there, which is a common theme of that day. And eventually we got there, and it was pretty cool. We got to see the place. It's like a little place sketched in the steps where it says that Martin Luther King had spoken, which I never knew was there. Eventually we got inside, and we saw, Lincoln on his throne there, and then there was a speech on the side, which I didn't know was there, and the other Gettysburg Address, which was also there. And so then we walk out, and I got this really nice, picture of the Washington Memorial, Washington Monument, and then the Capitol building all the way in the end. I like it. They're right beside each other, and it's like a really cool picture. And I thought it would look like were people way out there, and I was like, oh, okay. So didn't think anything about it at the time, huh? So then we're walking down the steps, had no idea what had already been going on, and all of a sudden we get this alert from the mayor's office saying that curfew for 6 o'clock, and we were really confused why it was going on. Why would she send that out, or why wouldn't her office send that out? Because obviously she's not just messaging everybody. So we thought that's it. We were sore. Our feet were sore. Our backs were sore. Our heads were sore. Everything was sore. We just wanted to go home. At least I did, anyway. And we walked back, and all of a sudden we start seeing people coming back from the Capitol building. And for those of you who think everybody there was just like, oh yeah, America, and we're having fun, no, that's actually not the case. Some were coming back with shock in their face. Some were coming back that looked angry. Some that looked, just absolutely confused and just sad almost. And of course, there was the ones coming by like, yeah, there's a guy in Pelosi's office. And we're like, what, really? Something like they were saying, yeah, people got in. There were some people said, no, I didn't see anybody go in. I saw them up on the steps, but of course we found out that they were saying some lady got shot, and some were thinking other people got shot, and that police were getting that the people were pepper sprayed. We actually met a guy who had been pepper sprayed who was up on the steps and whatnot, and so we got closer and closer, and eventually like, yeah, it looks like there's actually people up there, and so we got closer, and next thing you know, I see this guy walk by, and he's got this. What was it? A closed area sign, because up in that area there was like, this is a closed area, do not. So he took one of the signs with him, and we saw where we were before. The barricades had been moved back, which we found out was done actually by the police officers to shore up their line because they were greatly outnumbered. So eventually we see, and there was like this fence that was knocked over. So we got about as close as we legally could, I guess, and saw all these protesters, and we could hear them up on the scaffolding, up on the walls, up on the, up on the steps and everything like that. And they were all chanting. I couldn't understand what they were saying, but they were chanting something, or people waving flags, and it was just like, wow. Like, we couldn't believe what was happening before our eyes. And that was the case for a lot of people there. I mean, everybody thinks that everybody that was there at that moment was all supporting what was happening. I mean, I wouldn't say everybody that was there at the moment was necessarily, trying to stop what was happening. Obviously, the police couldn't stop it. We couldn't stop it. But if nothing else, there was definitely a lot of confusion and shock. We were getting calls from friends asking if we were still alive or if we were okay. Obviously, if I answered the phone, I must still be alive. But, so then eventually, I mean, I was feeling kind of uneasy. I did want to try to ask people questions of, like, what was going on, how did, but eventually we thought we should probably get out of here. So we ended up leaving, and there were police everywhere. At that point, we saw armored vehicles going past and things like that. And honestly, at that point I did not feel safe. We ended up getting out of there, and I even told my friends, like, I'm not going to feel safe until I get out of D.C. because I didn't know if police were going to start seeing people and start grabbing them, and because if you're that close to the protesters, they don't care, So they might just start shooting us with rubber bullets or pepper spray or whatever. And so then we ended up getting to the West Union Station, and in there were policemen in riot gear, circled, or like in this giant circle. And it really felt very surreal. It was very weird to witness this kind of stuff. And so, we ended up getting on the train, headed back out of D.C., and there were people inside the train having conversations about what was happening. and pretty much for the most part, everybody I heard was all saying, this is not right. This they shouldn't have done this. What's this going to accomplish? And I felt a similar sentiment. I mean, at the time, I was trying to process. Okay, how was this? Could this? Were they right in doing this? Were they wrong? And obviously, I just could not, in good conscience, say to myself no. Say to myself it was actually right because, again, I believe that protest is good as long as they're not causing violence. I believe that in the summer. I believe that now. Over the other protests that happened with Black Lives Matter and Antifa, I believe it today with what happened in the nation's capital. So eventually we got out of there. We got back to Maryland. We got in our car and we left. And at one point we stopped at this subway that was on the side of the road, and there were other people there that were in some of the buses. And there were a lot of people there with like Trump gear and stuff like that. And we got to meet some people that had actually been up on the steps and stuff like that. And so it was interesting getting to talk to people, meet and hear what they had to say. One interesting note was that there was this lady over in the corner, and she was acting like she was on her phone, but I could tell at one point when she pulled her phone up that it was actually on the camera mode, and so like she's totally taking pictures of people here. And so then I took a picture of her, and then she quit. So, we ended up leaving. We came all the way back to Pennsylvania, and I got home a little after midnight, so I literally went an entire day without sleep, because I didn't sleep the night before either, because I did not feel, although I was looking forward to seeing the Capitol, I felt like something bad was going to happen, and one of my friends also felt the same way. So I got back home, I got to sleep, I woke up the next morning and thought, did that really happen? Because we literally witnessed a historic event. It's like witnessing, I don't know, Kennedy getting shot. Maybe not to the exact extent, maybe, but it felt like, wow, this is historic. And, so at the end, there were some takeaways. And one is that the first reaction was shock. I couldn't believe what I was witnessing. I couldn't believe what I saw. And the other conclusion I come to is that no side has a place to talk at this point. If you were someone who supported the riots that took place over the summer, then you have no reason to criticize what happened at the United States Capitol. I don't care if it was the Capitol or if it was a police precinct. The police precinct, they got in, they took it over, they burned it down, the police left so that they wouldn't cause any more disruption. And so if that's wrong, because that's a government facility, then there was nothing wrong with what happened then. Obviously, I believe both were wrong. But if you supported what happened in the summer and don't support what happened, then you're a hypocrite. If you didn't support what happened in the summer, but do support what happened yesterday, then you're just as wrong. Because, at least in my view, anyway, because just because it's your side doesn't make it right, and and so both sides don't have a place to talk. You can't say that what happened, and I'm very glad every Republican lawmaker denounced it. The president denounced it. Every conservative news outlet that I've been able to find denounced it. Pretty much all of my friends that I know of have all denounced it, and so therefore we can all agree on the fact that what happened at the United States Capitol was wrong. So my takeaway from it is that yes, it was wrong. I'm shocked at what happened. I'm shocked because it was supposed to be our side that was doing right. We were supposed to be the peaceful ones, the ones that were doing right. I wouldn't have been as shocked if it had been the left or Black Lives Matter or Antifa, because they've been known for doing riots and things like that. In the past, people just showed up to a courthouse and protested and were called violent. And so, and so if they had just done that, I wouldn't have called them violent. I'm sure the left still would have called them violent if all they had done was protest. But at this point, neither side has a place to talk. We should really just stop and realize that violence of any kind is wrong. I don't care how oppressed you feel. I don't care how marginalized you feel at the moment. There were a lot of people there that probably felt very marginalized over the fact of what had been going on over the past years with bias in the media and things like that. But that didn't justify what happened. There were a lot of people over the summer that felt very marginalized and very out of place over the way things have been. That did not justify the violence that happened then. And so what we need to realize is that we need to stop seeing each other as Republicans and Democrats and all these other different labels we put on ourselves and see ourselves as just Americans. I know that's controversial, but if nothing else, it's people. And just stop hating each other. Be kind. Remember that phrase? I guess that doesn't really fit anymore. But that's the conclusion I've come to. And that is, yes, I am very much against what happened at the United States Capitol. Just as I'm just as much against what happened over the summer. And I hope that at some point we can put away our bias and look at something through an objective lens and realize when my side does something wrong, it's just as wrong as when the other side does it. And I realize no matter what I say right now, there's still going to be people that are going to say, oh, no, our side was right, but your side was wrong. And honestly, I don't even consider those people part of my side. Those people that were just trying to take up the Capitol, I don't consider them part of my side. They may have the same labels as me, so to speak, but I don't consider them part of my side. And so until we're actually willing to admit when we're wrong and admit that we can find common ground, then I can only see worse things happening. I can see the left starting to rise up again. I can see the right starting to rise up against each other. And those of us who have any sort of desire for any unity are just going to be cannon fodder. And so, I don't know. I certainly hope good comes out of this. But I fear it will not. I fear that darker days are ahead. Because I fear that the few radicals on the right are not going to change. And I fear that the overwhelming people on the left who supported what happened over the summer are not going to relent either. And eventually, who knows? It's just a bad situation. And so that's what I saw. That's what I saw, and that's the conclusion I came away from. And again, I just pray that somehow good can come out of this awful situation that's happened, and the awful situations that have been happening, and that we would stop hating one another and just be people. Just see each other as, as Christians, we see each other as brothers and sisters in Christ, because there's even division amongst us, because we have the social justice Christians, and you have the conservative Christians, the Trump Christians, and you got the no politics Christians, even though they're actually very much political. It's nuts. And I don't know, I guess that's just the way it is. I even saw an article where it said we don't need to be Stoics anymore, we need to be Epicureans. Well, again, I believe we should be Christians, but I actually heard a wise saying once said that a nation starts as Stoics and ends as Epicureans. So if that's the direction we're going, that's the end of our society. And it's a sad thought. But, I don't know, I guess I'm ending it on a sad note here. But, all I can say is, I just pray for better days. That's all I have to say. Thank you for watching.